Credit cards are often described as tools. Neutral. Useful if you're responsible, dangerous if you're not. But that framing misses something important. Credit cards don't just respond to behavior, they shape it. For many people, a credit card is the first time money stops feeling physical. You don't hand anything over. You don't feel the loss immediately. You tap, swipe, or click, and the transaction is over. The consequence arrives later, quietly, on a statement you might not even look at closely. That delay changes how spending feels, and once spending feels different, behavior follows. This is where the traps begin. One of the biggest traps of credit cards is how they separate the act of buying from the act of paying. When you use cash, the pain is immediate. When you use a debit card, the balance drops right away. With a credit card, the cost is abstract. It becomes future use problem. That psychological distance makes it easier to spend more than intended, especially on things that feel small in the moment but add up quickly. Minimum payments are another subtle trap. They're framed as a safety net, a way to stay in good standing. But in reality, minimum payments are designed to stretch debt out for as long as possible. Paying only the minimum keeps balances alive, interest compounding, and profits flowing. A purchase that could have been paid off in weeks can quietly turn into years of payments, with interest often exceeding the original cost. Rewards programs add another layer. Points, cashback, miles. They feel like free money. But rewards don't exist to benefit you first. They exist to encourage spending. Studies consistently show that people spend more when they know they're earning rewards, even when the reward value is small. A 1% or 2% return feels meaningful psychologically, even though it rarely offsets the extra spending it encourages. Then there's the trap of good debt behavior. Many people believe that carrying a balance helps their credit score. It doesn't. Paying interest is not required to build credit. But the belief persists, and it keeps people comfortable with debt they don't need. Credit card companies benefit from this confusion because misunderstanding is profitable. Late fees, penalty APRs, and deferred interest promotions are traps too. A single missed payment can raise interest rates dramatically. A no interest for 12 months offer can turn into a retroactive interest charge if the balance isn't cleared exactly on time. These aren't accidents. They're features built into the system. But credit cards aren't just traps. Used deliberately, they can be powerful tools. One of the most underrated benefits of credit cards is protection. Fraud protection, purchase disputes, extended warranties, and chargebacks all shift risk away from the consumer. When something goes wrong, credit cards often provide leverage that debit cards and cash don't. That protection is real, and it matters. Rewards, when used intentionally, can also work in your favor. Cash back on spending you were already going to do anyway. Groceries, utilities, recurring bills can quietly reduce costs. Travel rewards can be valuable if you understand redemption rules and avoid chasing points through unnecessary purchases. The key difference is whether spending comes first or the reward does. Credit cards can also help smooth cash flow. Emergencies don't always arrive at convenient times. Having access to short-term credit can prevent worse outcomes like overdrafts, missed rent, or high-interest payday loans. Used sparingly and paid off quickly, credit cards can act as a buffer rather than a burden. This is where the hacks come in, though they're less about tricks and more about mindset. One of the most effective hacks is treating a credit card like a debit card with a delay. Only charge what you already have the money for. Pay balances in full, every month without exception. This removes interest from the equation entirely, which is where most of the harm lives. Another is automation. Autopay for the full statement balance removes forgetfulness, emotion, and friction. It turns credit cards into a background tool rather than an active temptation. The less attention debt demands, the less power it has. Tracking spending by category instead of by balance is another subtle shift. Credit limits can create a false sense of capacity. A high limit doesn't mean you can afford more. It just means you're allowed to borrow more. Anchoring decisions to income and savings, not limits, helps restore perspective. It's also important to ignore rewards that change behavior. If a bonus category tempts you to buy things you wouldn't otherwise buy, it's not a reward, it's a nudge. The most valuable rewards are the ones that disappear into the background because they don't change your decisions at all. Ultimately, credit cards reveal something uncomfortable about money. The system is not designed to help people optimize outcomes. It's designed to profit from inconsistency, forgetfulness, and emotional spending. The more chaotic life becomes, the more valuable those traits are to lenders. But awareness changes the dynamic. Credit cards aren't good or evil. They're amplifiers. They amplify habits, stress, and financial structure. In a stable system, they can add convenience and protection. In an unstable one, they magnify pressure and delay consequences until they're harder to manage. The difference isn't discipline alone. It's intention. Knowing when a credit card is serving you and when you're serving it. Because the most expensive part of credit cards isn't interest or fees. It's how easily they make money feel unreal until it's not.